Hey everybody, this is Sam Thompson. I'm the physical educator at Crosstown High, and I am doing this presentation to introduce you to our innovative and new and really exciting physical education program at Crosstown High, utilizing a project-based learning approach for all of the content that we cover in physical education in order to make it more impactful, to help students in the future and develop skills necessary in order to live a healthy and meaningful life. So when we are looking at the goals of Crosstown High PE, it's really important to look at, why are we really doing all of this work in physical education? What are we trying to teach our students? And so we utilize project-based learning, which puts students in situations where they are pretty much working through different projects and receiving content and information through a project situation. So in our PE class, it's not simply roll a ball out, it's not just play athletics the whole time. What we do is we prepare our students with a question or a driving situation that they are to develop a solution for. Luckily, in physical education, we have the whole process of developing the human body and developing our skills and developing our own health and physical literacy. So making sure that students understand that through a project-based learning approach um, is the main goal of our program. Whenever we look at our next item is student engagement levels increased, we know that in physical education, engagement levels are very low and students lose a lot of interest in high school physical education because it's not nearly as effective or meaningful as it has been in younger years. So in this program, that is one of our other main goals. And lastly, student-led inquiry and student-driven learning, being able to take ownership of their bodies, take ownership of their physical well-being is something that we are really striving for at Crosstown High. We want our students to really take ownership and understand that whenever they become older and they step into the real world, there's not going to be a physical education teacher or health teacher there telling you what you should do. You need to be able to learn those skills and implement those skills on a regular basis once you are older. When you're looking at like project-based learning and physical education, a lot of people scratch their heads and think like it really can't be done here. And so I've provided our Crosstown High PE social media pages. That way you can take a look at what we're doing on a regular basis in order to change how physical education is provided. So in this instance, we created cardiovascular games. Students were tasked with creating a game that could fit into a small space so that any physical education class could play and improve their levels of fitness. So you're starting to see little snippets of different physical education groups developing those games, creating things that are going to be meaningful for classes in the future. So you'll see really high activity levels throughout the entire classroom. Students are developing these games, testing the games, and then teaching them to their peers so that they can improve as well. So you'll see just many different games and many different rules. All of these are created. They can't be copied from a game that they've seen in a previous instance. Second, we've also done projects developing skill-related fitness. So if you look onto our social media page, you can actually click this. I'm not going to talk over it.
Hey, go. Yay.
So we have students that are developing their own skill-related fitness drills and then testing them out on their peers in class in order to improve their levels of fitness and understand how to work on certain skills whenever the time is needed in order to develop those. Just saw one of my students there. One of his main goals was to increase speed and agility. He's one of my soccer players in class. Instead of me just giving him a bunch of things to work on as his coach, I told him he needs to develop his own drills, learn how those skill-related fitness components work in order to really make something that's meaningful for them. So when we look at the pros and cons of our program versus a traditional physical education class that's in its current form, in a physical education class we see there's not typically a lot of consistency low activity levels, so the typical roll out a ball. If you don't want to play, sit on the bleachers, get on your phone, whatever it may be. There's the content or the standards that are provided for physical education in high school. They're not developed for future use. You can take those and really bend them and mold them for future use, like we're doing at Crosstown High. But if you're looking at them for what they're worth, there's a lot of just simple activities that could be developed for those physical education standards. We see a lot of the roll out the ball and play, and then a lot of that play is not even connected to specific standards or needs of the student. The pros of our program is high student engagement. So I believe that students are not really interested in learning in something if they're not interested in it from the get-go. So you have to make physical education something that's meaningful and something that they'll attach to, something that really hits home to them. Focusing on competencies and skills, so making sure that students are taking ownership of their own learning. They're really designing solutions in order to make sure that their projects or their products work at a high level. I designed this curriculum to be specifically for the high school student, allowing them to better themselves through projects and make sure that they take ownership of everything that they do. So facilities, one of the main things that I think is exciting about Crosstown High's PE program is we really push that we are like really trying to change the game in physical education in high school. And we know that a lot of physical education programs don't have incredible facilities where they have a full gym or they have a large open space. So we're really striving to make things and make a curriculum that there's no special facilities needed. Things that can be done in a classroom setup, things that can be done in a clear classroom or a field outside or a gymnasium, whatever it may be. Like, we're trying to focus on creating a program that can be done anywhere so that it can be spread to all high school facilities and be utilized around the country. The last questions that I'd like to cover is, so who is required to take PE? In our program and district, all students are required to take at least 1.5 credits of physical education. That can be done through many of our course offerings. When it comes to physical education teachers, all of them will be certified physical education instructors. However, all instructors are required to obtain at least one additional fitness certification by the end of their first year teaching. So we made that requirement based on making sure that teachers also have the knowledge of exercise training principles. We are a fitness-based physical education program. So most all the things that we talk about or we discuss implement fitness and movement in that regard. So when we look at what options are offered to students, all students are required to take health and wellness, which is our main physical education class. It's a 1-credit class. However, students are able to obtain their other half credit through our activity courses such as athletics or outdoor activities or mindfulness courses. And then why? So why is it a better approach than my child's traditional PE program? For us, provide your child the opportunity to grow and develop skills to keep them healthy and happy for a long time. I think every parent, whenever they leave a school or they drop their child off for the school, they really want what's best for their child. They want to make sure that they're developing and learning things that they're going to be able to use and implement in order to keep them healthy and to keep them in a situation that is positive for them. So one message that I have to parents is that whenever you leave your child in my class, understand that they're not just coming in to move and get an A. They're learning how to take care of themselves when they're adults, when they're in their college dorms for the very first time alone and they don't know how to take care of their bodies and they don't have someone pushing them to remain active. That's the goal of our class, is making sure that our students are equipped to make sure that they are going to be healthy in the long run. That's the end of our slideshow. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. We look forward to this really meaningful program in the future.